What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Got a brother on today, did a bunch of time. Really feel like this dude was not guilty. Ended up going to prison for something he didn't do. But anyway, Omar, tell the people who you are, where you're from, and let's talk a little bit about you.
Salute, family. My name is Omar Gent. Basically, a man of the people, man of my word. I'm from Delray Beach, Florida. Grew up real close-knit to my family and everything. My mother, she passed away from cancer in the early 2000s. I'm the oldest of three siblings, 39 years old. Got incarcerated when I was 25, going on 25 years old. Year and a half ago, I got released. I was wrongfully accused of aggravated robbery, a crime I did not commit by Parker Police Department. The night of my arrest was basically very shocking to me. We can get into the details of that because it was done totally wrong. So when I got incarcerated, I decided that I was going to dig into the law, ready to study the law. And I basically discovered that the state of Colorado is railroading people to prison, whether they be guilty or innocent or deserving of a lesser punishment, by going around the grand jury system as explained on my website, freeourbrothers.com. And I've been fighting from day one because it's bigger than me. So I'm been fighting to bring the truth about what's going on.
Let me ask you this, Omar. You're from Florida, but you end up in Colorado. How do you end up in Colorado?
Oh, man, I was asking myself that for the whole time I was incarcerated. Went out with an ex-girlfriend of mine. Well, she was a then girlfriend. Unfortunately, the relationship didn't last. The stress of the test of being wrongfully basically railroaded to prison. So came out to Florida. Went out to Colorado with my then girlfriend and her family. And that whole situation just cost me that relationship. But, I learned a lot over the years. It was very trying, but just learned a lot about human nature, myself, the creator, the law, everything, prison, abolition, all that, all that.
So you're walking into prison. You're 24 years old. You're not from Colorado. You're from Florida. You're walking into prison. How much time are you sentenced to?
24 years. 24 years. That was a big shock, to say the least. You go from not being in any serious trouble, then you're getting handed down 24 years. It didn't really set in the reality of serving all that time because I never was incarcerated, never had a prior felony. So it was just like you go into a situation and you're learning on the fly, like they say, basically. So it was very shocking, a lot of anger on the inside, a lot of frustration because you didn't do this, what they accuse you of, and a lot of illegal things went down to gain the conviction. So it was a lot of this. It was a time I can't put it into words. You have to go through it to experience, but it's very shocking, trying, heartbreaking time.
Only imagine you're 24 years old and they just give you as much time as you've been alive. And you're walking into a prison system that you're not familiar with. You've never been really in jail or prison. Colorado's a little different than Florida, right?
Yes, Colorado is it's a mixture. The prison system is overwhelmingly Caucasian, which it is strange to some people because I'm from the South, and you go prisons down south, you see mostly Black and brown people. So it's overwhelmingly Caucasian because the percentage of Black and brown people or Native people is very low in Colorado. So it can be kind of deceptive because you look around and you see mostly white people, young white men, but they're getting out quicker than black and brown people and other populations. So I was locked down so long. I saw, to keep it real with y'all, a lot of Caucasian people getting out and coming back 3-4 times since I've been locked down. So you see a very strange play in what I call musical chairs of the inmates, and it doesn't reflect like reality, far as the people that are really coming in, being held the longest, usually black and brown people. And I want people to know that when I advocate for all people, I just don't focus on black men or brown men. You know, I'm willing to work with anyone who's fighting against injustice. And this mass incarceration, this illegal mass incarceration, as explained by freeourbrothers.com, it affects all people. So I'm highlighting this situation for all people who've been impacted, so many different families, so many different communities, so many different ethnic groups. Anyone is being affected by it. So I want y'all to know that. So please don't get it twisted thinking, oh, he just talking about black people or brown people. Our poor white brothers and sisters are impacted by the system as well, and they're suffering as well. And someone's got to speak up.
Let me ask you this. Like you said, you walk in there, it's predominantly Caucasian. What's it like for you? I mean, is it racially segregated? Are they disrespectful towards blacks? Are they beefing? I mean, what's going on in that Colorado prison system? And we can talk about the 211 crew sometime later on.
Most part, I wasn't used to it because from being down south, we grow up segregated. Like the communities here, all black communities and then all white, it's just like, this is the South. Florida, you can't go no more. I say it all the time. You can't go no more south than Florida or you'd be in the water, literally, because, you got Cuba. So once you get to Key West, it's Cuba, water. So it's like a mixture of people. You see, like, for example, what I didn't see here in Florida and this growing up, you'll see like white gang members and, Bloods and Crips. You'll see a lot of the mixture. It's not like segregated. So that really, I had to get used to that and realizing that the politics of prison is kind of like off, because you will see, for example, like if people didn't know anything about prison, you would look up and you would see sometimes Caucasian people jumping on black people physically. And then in the first time that ever happened, I'm thinking it's a racial thing, but I didn't know that it was actually white Crips or Bloods violating members of their own gang, which were black people. So automatically, me being where I'm from, I see that, I'm like, oh, this is a racial situation when it's not, so you have to be very careful about different moves you make. So you go in there. I didn't really have any problem because I always carried myself like a man. My problems were mostly with the police, the correctional officers, because you had a high element of actual Ku Klux Klan members who are police officers, and I wouldn't tolerate any attacks against my manhood or anyone else's manhood. So I was constantly basically toe to toe with a lot of the correctional officers. It wasn't aggressive. It wasn't like violent, but I was telling like, yo, this is my rights. You're not going to do me any kind of way. So that was very nerve wracking at times, because I actually had them telling me that they would kill me and let me know that they were verified, certified Klan members. And I was just like, okay, well, that's the case. Then we'll see. I'm just going to stand on my rights. So that was a very challenging circumstance, to say the least.
Understandable. So, we'll talk a little bit about, I've interviewed a couple people that were, at least one dude that was part of that 211 crew. We talked about some of the violence that they committed in there. I mean, was it violent in there or no?
Yeah, over the years, it was during the start of my incarceration, it was very violent. Sterling Correctional Facility is where I was held at. Over the years, they had several wardens. They had to go through several wardens because they couldn't stop the murders. I remember it was one big murder, 211, took out someone, a young Caucasian male, and the police, the correctional officer, they were so shocked about the violence of it because it happened in a cell. There was blood all over the walls. That they leaked the footage to the local news. Blood splattered all over the wall, the toilet, and so it kind of like shocked people. So a lot of wardens end up getting replaced. I remember instances of people getting stabbed real bad. A former cellmate of mine, an elder, a close friend of mine, an elderly Black man, he just lost his life maybe over a year ago. That really hit me because he wasn't supposed to be in the cell with him being an elder with a person who was barely 30 years old. His cellmate was barely 30 years old. And this is a black on black event of violence. So I was real highly upset. I still am because, my elder was 70 years old. Why the hell did they have him in the cell with someone who was 30? There's no way he can basically defend himself. And I know that was a setup because of who my elder was. So it was a lot of violence. I'm still unpacking that because my fiance, she's a excellent mental health therapist. She was saying right now I'm coming out of fight or flight mode with the hypertension and everything just coming out of my system, and my body is releasing different types of feelings and emotions. Sometimes it's hard to sleep. Since I notice that I'm always hypervigilant, I'm always watching, I'm always on point. Not really relaxed. Even when I was laying in the bed with my fiance, I'm like, the first thing that's coming to my mind, and we're safe. She lives in a nice neighborhood and everything. First thing that's coming to my mind is like, yo, what if somebody comes to this door? I'm like, who the hell is somebody? I'm like, I got to be on point. So the violence, I say it to say the violence is always in you because it always impacts you. Not them saying in you, but it's in you because of the impact that it has upon your system, your being. So you're hyper vigilant. It may be hard to sleep. It affects people in different ways. So did see a lot of that.
What's one of the worst things you've seen in there?
One of the worst things. So much. You have to be one of the ones that stood out in my mind. It was an elderly white man. I took care of him. That was my assignment. I used to take care of the elders. They assigned me to he was in a wheelchair, push him around to help him get around the facility. That assignment taught me a lot of humility. I'm grateful for it. Some days I wanted to give it up because the old guys that curse you out and everything, but it helped to build my patience. It helped me to see life differently and everything. One of my clients, I didn't see all of it, but I saw some of it happen so quick. I saw everything from a distance. He had a issue with us, the white supremacist gang, and the guy ran up. The younger guy he had an issue with ran up and basically stomped him to death on a handball court. And the guy went from kicking this elderly person, kicking his head against the softball court, to using his fist. And he got down, he used his elbow. Basically, it was just like you see somebody literally getting beat to death, because of the area where I was at, they basically held everybody back. The police just watched everything, you know? So to see that, it made me realize more and more that you just can't slip, you know? I don't think with him being so old, I don't think it was anything he really probably could have done because he was barely even getting around. But I still remember the blood that was on the floor for over a year. That was on the tennis because he got murdered on the handball court. So they were trying to power wash that blood. And to me, that was just a testament of the corruption, you know, the lack of true concern about human life, because the blood was just there for over a year. In fact, when I got transferred to another side of the prison, the minimum yard, right before I got out, I ran into that inmate's brother. And it's kind of spooked because they look exactly alike. And I'm like, I know I saw this guy get killed over a year ago. And I actually ran into his brother. And I was able to help his brother know the truth about what went on, because DOC at the time told his family that was on the outside of the walls that your loved one passed away from natural causes. Yeah, natural causes.
Let me ask you this, right? I mean, this is a guy that you have a relationship, you're pushing him around. What's his beef with this other dude about?
Well, basically, I remember what you said. It went into we talked about the 211. It was a situation with them and prison politics, basically. And him being an elder and having a certain case, being a convicted sex offender, he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do, according to the gossip, far as, you know, paying his rent to, you know, the 211 crew. And they retaliated against him. It cost him, you know, and me being obviously not a Caucasian person, that was like a real touchy subject for me, because here I am, like you said, I got a relationship with this man. You get to know him. Now I just like, look, you got two options. Either you pay or you snitch. Because if I get into it, it's going to be bigger than, you know, it's going to be an endless situation, endless blood slaughter. That was my advice to him. You need to pay or snitch. You need to get up out of here, basically. You know, and I don't advocate ratting, but, you know, that was his only option. Either pay the money or tell, so that people can move you and get you somewhere where you're secured. Don't act like you can't go along with it.
Let me stop you for a second, Omar, because, you know, people be like, oh, no, mate, this is the realities of what actually happens in prison, right? I mean, it's either you pay or you tell. Yeah. This is what happens in prison. So, you know, some people, and I mean, he's a SO. So, I mean, it's not, I mean, most of them will resort to the latter, right? They'll say, you know what, man, I'm about to get up out of here. What stopped him from doing that?
I think it was more like ego, like maybe he got tired of paying, because I witnessed him, he was paying that rent religiously. And me seeing it, me knowing the politics of it, I was just like, well, as long as you come with that rent, then you're okay. And I think he was trying to use me as kind of like a bouncer or something. Like, he wanted me to come in and be like, yo, this stops here. But I'm like, I'm not going to do that, because at the end of the day, you asked me to put my life on the line to get involved with politics. That can cost me my life and a lot of other people who care for me, their lives. Like, you know what you have to do. These are your options. And I think he just gave up on life. I don't think he wanted to live anymore. Be honest with you, he had so much time. And some people just, from what I've seen, especially elders, I think, I can't prove it, but I think a lot of them, when they get to a certain point, they're like, I'm gonna violate certain rules because I want to die. Like they say, suicide by cop. they probably like suicide by prison law. I'm gonna stop paying rent. I don't want to live no more. And I'm not gonna tell. You kill me, you kill me.
Like I said, you had built up a little bit of relationship with them. Some people would be like, "Damn, come on, bro, you're being friends with SOs." But this is your job. Your job is to push this guy around. You know, the administration puts him in population. You see him getting stomped out. Does it affect you? Is there a part of you like you want to go over there and stop it, but you know you can't because of prison politics?
Yeah, I was on the far side of the yard, and when it happened, they basically had us sectioned off from it. It happened far away, maybe like a good distance, maybe at least over, let's say 60 feet, but you still can see it, 60, 70 feet across the whole yard. I didn't really know that it was him until I got the news later. And then you come back, you're looking for your client, because, it was my responsibility to get people back and forth. But people was to be like, "Oh, you shouldn't push this guy or that guy." I was like, look, I don't give a damn. At the end of the day, they got me labeled as this and that. They got you labeled as this. I don't care. I got a job to do. I don't care what type of case they got. I tell people all the time, I consider everybody in the damn wheelchair SO. That make it easier for me, a sexual offender or whatever. I'm not here to check your paperwork. I'm just here to get the hell out of prison, and working that job was one of the means that helped me to get around the facility more access to the law library and stuff like that. But when I saw him, the person from a distance getting stomped out, it was just like, okay, I don't know what's going on. I see something going down. I really don't know who it is. I don't know if it's racial. I don't know, because you can't really see. But then when it catches up, you get more facts. It's just like, wow. I felt some kind of way about it, because it was like, I'm not a bad person. I'm like, I wish the guy would have listened. I wish it was something I could have done more. I mean, but what can you do when a grown man like really refuses to heed your advice and do what he needs to be done,
Maybe he just got tired, like you said. You know what? Pretty much got a life sentence. This thing's over with. So would people harass you for pushing these people around? Like, yo, man, you're dealing with SOs, although they're allowing them to live there and extorting them?
I mean, some people try. Like, I wasn't no punk, so they saw me. I know that a lot of people, including, some of the Caucasian inmates, whether they were affiliated with the 211s or not, they saw the stance I took when it came to injustice, standing up against the COs. A lot of people just bow down to them. So living and walking and talking like, a true man, you get a lot of respect, and people see that, hey, this person is not no pushover, not going to tolerate certain things. So people just kind of just backed up and left me alone. If it did come up, I used to be like, I don't care, because at the end of the day, I wasn't there. And I had people say things about me when I was incarcerated. Oh, he was involved with this at this penitentiary. It was a straight up lie. So like, you never know dealing with DOC. I never sided with the court system and said everything they say is true. I'm like, show me the paperwork, on certain things. And even if then, you got to be very careful, because the system is just so corrupt. I know how they did me. I know how they done others. So it's just like everything they say is not going to line up. So I really didn't care if people did approach me, because I'm like, I'm going to do me regardless. I'm going to be who I am. I'm here to do this job. It helps me to do what I do as far as moving around the facility and build a rapport with the officers who saw that I was trying to get out of prison, and they respected me for that, and they made things easier on me,
I mean, seeing some of the things that you see in there, I know it affects you. And you talk about, when you beef with the administration, you're beefing for a common good a lot of times. So dudes will respect you, like, yo, man, that dude right there, man, he's making sure like he's beefing with them so that the food is right, or we got something coming. He's the dude that's gonna write them up. He's the dude that's gonna go hard for all of us. And plus, I mean, you're not a little dude. So I'm sure people had some respect for you, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, you talking about, I used to be the only one sometimes standing, literally, like, even if there was a Caucasian person getting done wrong by certain bully COs, you know, I was there to help them file a grievance or physically stand up to the police. Like, no, y'all wrong, man. Get your shift commander on the scene. Oh no, turn around and cuff up. Nope, I ain't cuffing up. Get the shift commander here because y'all violating this man's rights. All he needs to go to medical, stuff like that. And then people would see that and be like, damn, well, we scared as hell of the police. Here he is telling them, no, I'm not going to cuff up. No, you get your shift commander out here. No, I'm not moving. I will not be quiet. I don't care what and they hit the button and here come all the police and I'll make a big old scene. I was real good. Oh, I'm happy all y'all here. Get some popcorn. Today we about to learn protocol because obviously this officer does not know protocol. So get some popcorn and get your notes, get your pen out, your memos and all this and learn about DOC protocol and how things are supposed to be done. So when people see that, black, white, brown, native, whatever, they see that and a lot of them guys come in and brainwash at an early age from juvenile hall and everything. They just bow down to a lot of the authority in there, whether it's right or wrong, so they don't know how to really present themselves and stand up against the injustice. So when they see it, it's just like, you're crazy, or they like, I respect it, or they like, this guy is tangling with people that we don't even want to tangle with, so we respect that. So they just leave you alone.
Spent a lot of time in that law library.
Oh yeah, my joke was, if they called me and told me to pack my stuff up in 5 minutes, the first thing I grabbed was my legal box and I'm running out the door. Only thing I'm taking with me is my legal box. I spent years in that law library. I have a big legal box. It's probably, I waited when I was in the process of coming home. It's actually like 75 pounds. Yeah, spent a lot of
75 pounds. Legal
75 pounds.
So how do you end up getting out? I know you get that big sentence, but you only do 12. I mean, do you get out on parole? Do you get out because you win the case?
Yes. 14 and a half years I spent locked down. Honestly, I believe that it was just a mixture of everything, advocating, the laws changing, me not really getting into trouble behind bars, never really had no serious write-ups. I'm on the phone when I was incarcerated, talking with advocates, doing podcasts, building up a network to help empower what I was doing with freeourbrothers.com, what I'm still doing. So just like everything just came together. I remember I walked into my parole hearing and I was real nervous about that because I was like, I'm not going to fall on my sword. I know I didn't commit this crime. I know more than likely the parole board is looking for you to express remorse. But I just told them straight up, I didn't commit this crime. I've been saying that from day one. Someone obviously was impacted by aggravated robbery, a crime that happened. And that's unfortunate. And no one deserves to be traumatized like that. But on the other end, I did not commit this crime. I was traumatized as well. My life was taken away from me. And I've been fighting from day one to clear my name. And I didn't know how that was going to sit with the parole board. But to be honest it was done over the video. When I looked in the guy's face and I felt his spirit over the broadcast, I knew everything was basically certified to get me back to my family. I just felt it in my spirit.
I'm glad you made it out, bro. So now, how old are you when you walk out of prison?
You said how old?
How old were you? You went in at 24. How old were you when you walked out?
30, 38. I'm 39 now. Yeah, 38. A lot of time obviously went by. over the years, you see people come and go, a lot of family members pass away, friends come and go, so-called friends. Like I say, you learned a lot. You learned a lot about human nature. Everybody that can't ride with you during the prison sentence, whether you committed the crime or not. Then people have their mentality. Oh, you're convicted, so you had to do it. You had to do something wrong, and you're paying the consequences of it. So you learn a lot about people's take on life. And one thing anybody knows, anyone who's been incarcerated, I want to say this, that people are always going to look at you as being less than, or being someone who deserves ill treatment, who deserves to just be beaten down for the rest of your life. But know yourself, know your purpose. It's everyone has some skeletons in their closet, or people have something that they're not proud of, or something that if the world was to really see what was going on, then a lot of people will be like, wow, you really do that? I'm gonna write you off. So it's very hypocritical. Just know who you are, know what you're here to do, stand on that purpose. Don't let no one beat you down or take away your spirit. Keep pushing.
So tell me what you're doing now. You're out of prison. What are you doing now?
Man, right now I'm in the online course for personal training. Taking that course. It's a challenge. It's harder than I thought, learning anatomy and I'm advocating as well. I'm kind of like thinking about it as I'm talking to you. I just wish things like this were, that's why I'm working too, is advocating to get programs for people that's incarcerated. Because if I would have been studying, this, I had the means to study this when I was incarcerated or in the halfway house, I would be a lot more, advanced in my learning. I could hit the ground running with a certificate already and then moved on to something else. So I'm also advocating through, like you said, the podcast and this working with people to build educational opportunities, to get wrongful convictions aired, or even people who did the crime and who need a bridge to the community, who need to reestablish themselves with the people, opportunity to speak as well. We plan to do educational outreach as well. So that's what I'm involved with. This basically using my experience to make it a lot easier for someone else and to stop the pipeline of prison, and to put an end to it as much as I can.
The podcast that you're working on?
That's Liberty and Justice for Who, with my co-host Jeanette Jones, a wonderful sister. We just started. It came to me when I was incarcerated. We have a YouTube channel, the Liberty channel. I guess I have to get you a link for that. Yes, but it's been a long time coming. I told Jeanette that when I was still in Colorado over a year and a half ago, I told her when I first hit the halfway house, I said, Jeanette, we need to do a podcast because people need to know what's going on, and we need to connect more and more people with what's going on behind bars and then what the community can do to build with people who are impacted by it. So that's what the podcast I've been working on, the Liberty channel on YouTube, and Liberty and Justice for Who podcast. Basically, that's it.
That's what's up. So listen, before we get ready to go, right? Some young dudes out there in the street doing the wrong things on their way to prison. What message would you give to them?
That's a very great question. You have the power within you to break the cycle of imprisonment. It's nothing in there. It's not cool. It's not a badge of honor. It's not something should be embraced. You know, you have the power within you. Use your brain, use your creativity to tap into your skills, tap into that unique ability within yourself to create, to do something better. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of people going behind those walls, and it's not, just to say the least, it's not fun to be there. You're going to witness time pass you. You're going to lose a lot of connections. You're going to lose a lot of friends or family. And the people that sometimes hype you up to do certain things, when you get in the jam, 9 out of 10 of them won't be there. I promise you that. They won't even send you $5. So they talk that now. When you get in the jam, they won't even send you $5. And some of them will turn around, sleep with your girl, you know, steal your money. Be careful. Use your brain. There's so much more you can be doing. The world is changing as far as technology, and it's giving us avenues of creativity, avenues of expression, more ways to build connections. Think about the great things you're doing, because people taking away your time is the most extreme punishment on earth, you know, under death. In prison is a living death.
Well, listen, Omar. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's a living death. So avoid that living death. Speak life into yourself. Manifest the greatness. Speak life into your community. Give back to your community. Unify. And it's not about, I want to say, division. Those of like minds can come together and build. And that's real.
Listen, man, definitely appreciate you. Hopefully, you know, that resonates with some people. It's a living death. You're inside a concrete bunker. You got people telling you what to do. You got people telling you, hey, take off your clothes, bend over, you don't want to live like that. But listen, man, I definitely appreciate you coming on, sharing your stories, your experiences. We'll plug your YouTube channel into the description so people can go over there and check you out. Very intelligent brother, man. I appreciate you coming on. With respect, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Until tomorrow, we're out.